Hello, I'm Bill Blake, and if you're wondering who I am or why you should listen to me or believe a word I say, well, briefly, I have been a senior consultant with Norquist Associates for the past 20 years. During that period, I've conducted many seminars and coaching sessions on the use of the DiSC profile and other DiSC products. And for the past 14 years, our firm has been a consistent award-winning authorized Inkscape distributor. In my previous life, I was a director of education for 9 years, so I think I know something about leadership and interpersonal relationship building. But for you, this is probably the most important question. DiSC has been used by over 40 million people worldwide, so we have a wealth of experience to show the various improvements that DiSC can make. First, DiSC can enhance individual performance levels. It can improve the interpersonal relationships and communication throughout your whole organization. It will improve customer satisfaction, and it will increase sales. It can certainly improve team results, and simply understanding and practicing DiSC concepts will reduce conflict and stress. But what is this thing called DiSC? Basically, it is a system for understanding our own behavior and how our behavior affects other people. It also helps us understand the behavior of others and how we can adapt our behavior to improve our interpersonal relationships. Actually, it is an extension of the Golden Rule, which you might remember as treat others as you would like to be treated. The extension is treat others as they would like to be treated. For instance, when we see a huge iceberg drifting on the ocean, we sometimes forget that about 90% of it is under the water and hidden from our view. We may admire the part that we see, but if we forget the part that's under the surface, we may suffer the same consequences as the Titanic. Similarly, in looking at each other, all we see other than the appearance is the behavior. But underneath there is a lot that we don't see that is driving that behavior. Directly influencing the behavior we see are the thinking and feeling functions, which in turn are influenced by our values and beliefs, which in turn are influenced by our needs. This we call the whole person concept, and that is what the DiSC profile addresses. Another key question might be, why is a system for understanding and managing behavior so important? Well, there are several reasons, but 4 major ones. First of all, it saves time. There is better communication about performance problems. There are fewer conflicts and improved productivity resulting from greater cooperation among team members. Secondly, personnel is retained because there's an improved person-job fit. Behavioral expectations are shared, and there is more effective employee development strategies, resulting in lower direct and indirect turnover costs. Third, there are more satisfied customers because personnel now treat customers as the customers would like to be treated. Customers feel valued by receiving personalized service, and as a result, there is greater repeat business through customer loyalty. And fourthly, there is also increased sales because the salesperson adapts to the customer style, and the resulting increased trust makes the sale easier. It should be no surprise that we live in a world where people are different. Scientists have been observing and describing differences in behavior for hundreds of years. Most models seem to divide people into 4 basic types. Empedocles, living about 450 BC, used the 4 elements of fire, air, water, and earth to explain behavioral differences. Later, Hippocrates attributed these differences to blood, phlegm, attribile, and choler. Later scholars, such as Aristotle and Galen, attempted to ascribe these differences to different forces operating within or upon the body. The one common denominator is that each of the identified types has a different way of looking at the world, with different likes and dislikes, and each type has a different set of needs and wants, comforts and fears. And with all these differences, you must remember the rule about others. Different does not mean wrong. Different is simply different, and there is a richness in diversity. The present DiSC model is the contemporary expression of a 4-factor model of behavior that was first formulated in the 1930s by William Marsden a professor at Harvard University, and it was further developed by John Geyer, who became the president of Carlson Learning Company, the forerunner of the present Inkscape Publishing Company, who published the DiSC products. Marston's model is based on two factors plus a person's perception of those factors. The first factor is the environment, and whether people perceive that environment as favorable or unfavorable. The second factor is the individual's personal power, whether he or she feels they are more or less powerful than the environment, or in other words, how they respond to the environment. So if a person feels that the environment is unfavorable, but that they are more powerful than the environment, they are classified as a D or dominant. If a person perceives the environment to be favorable, but they feel they are still more powerful than that environment, then they are classified as an I for influence. Similarly, a person who sees the environment as favorable but feels they have less power over the environment would be classified as an S for steadiness. And a person who sees the environment as unfavorable and believes they have less power in the environment would be classified as a C for conscientiousness. These then are the four factors of the DiSC model. So, a high D sees an unfavorable environment that they want to change or overcome. Therefore, they will try to change, fix, or control things. A high I sees a favorable environment in which they can influence others. Therefore, they will try to persuade, promote, or influence others. A high S sees a favorable environment that they want to maintain. Therefore, they will try to be cooperative, supportive, and agreeable while keeping things stable. They do not like change. A high C sees an unfavorable environment that they can't change. Therefore, they try to work within established rules, guidelines, and procedures to ensure accuracy and quality. How then, with all these varying styles, can people work together? How can you develop compatibility? It is of course true that similar styles tend to be compatible socially, but on the other hand, workplace effectiveness is strengthened by mixing different styles. But mixing different styles may result in interpersonal conflicts. And that is the value of DiSC, because all styles can work together effectively, providing there is mutual respect, mutual trust, and a willingness to adapt. And in order for that to happen, you must first have awareness, understanding, and a willingness to work toward a solution. And this is where DiSC comes in. First of all, it provides a neutral, respectful, behavioral language for discussing behavior. It is probably better to say your high D is showing than you're behaving like a stupid gorilla. The DiSC model provides a structure for discussing differences using neutral language rather than being confrontational. And it provides a process for negotiating and resolving conflicts based on these differences. It can also be used as a means of identifying role expectations, particularly within a team. The DiSC system can also provide a system for comparing. It can compare yourself to others, yourself to the expectations of a particular role, or you can use the system to compare how various people perceive the expectations of a particular role. It is also a way of comparing people, either within an organization or as part of the selection process. And it can be used to analyze a team to ensure that the roles that will ensure peak performance are all included. Behavior is not static, and it can be changed if you want it changed. The DiSC system can then be used as a gap analysis to identify where you are now and where you wish to be. And probably most valuable of all, it can be used to develop strategies for coaching and self-development. In summary then, the DiSC model can be used for the improvement of individual performance, in the management of performance, in the development and training of work teams. It can also be used as part of the selection or hiring process. It has a real place in developing customer satisfaction, and it is a proven performance in increasing sales and in reducing conflict situations, and also in the retention of valuable employees. DiSC applications come in a variety of packages or programs which can be used in many ways. all of which are outlined on the website shown at the bottom of this screen. Among the more popular are relationship building, developing better communication skills, conflict resolution, customer service training, management and supervisory training, performance feedback or management, sales training, stress reduction, building better teams, and self-awareness and self-development. Basically, our lives are a journey, and on that journey, we cannot control what challenges we will meet, but we can control our choices, and it is the quality of the choices we make that will determine our success. It is up to you to discover the power of DiSC, but if you do and persist, you may find that your mountains will become anthills. Thanks for watching. All the best for your future with DiSC.